You're muted.
You're
muted. You're muted, Mr. Javed. Mr. Javed, please unmute yourself.
Oh, thank you, Veena-ji. Sorry. A warm welcome to all of you on our campaign closing event. I want to welcome all our friends who are joining us from other disability organizations, our registered members, senior leadership from 8 chapters, and our guest speakers. A very, very warm welcome once again. Today, we are doing a special event mainly to close our 4-week-long campaign, Numbers Matter. We have an hour-packed event today, and we will be hearing about the last 4-week campaign initiatives. You would also be hearing our speakers, Dr. Netravati M., Associate Professor, NIMHANS, and Mr. Pradeep Kumar, Advisor on Disability Inclusion to UN. We had an action-packed campaign of 4 weeks where MSI used the social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube to reach various stakeholders with hashtag Numbers Matter. In last 4 weeks of the campaign, MSI could get close to 4,700 signatures through online petition on change.org, which was started by Anjali Vyas, our MS Person of the Year. MSI also launched a crowdsourced map on August 1. And in last 3 weeks, we can see the registration of 2,400 plus members on India MS map. Apart from this, our MSI Youth Wing also organized an event on International Youth Day to highlight the issue of youth living with MS and how number matter for them. So now, without any further delay, I would like to start the program and will present an overview of last 4 weeks of the campaign. Yeah, I hope the slide is visible.
Yes, Javed. Yes.
Okay, so I would like to go through the journey of last 4 weeks, what activities we carried out in last 4 weeks with our campaign Numbers Matter. So we started this campaign on 25th July 2021. The ask for this campaign was to develop a kind of mechanism to collect a comprehensive data on multiple sclerosis in India. Through this campaign, we also started the online petition, which was started by Anjali Vyas. And today we could reach 4,700 plus signatures on change.org, and still the number is growing. So this number will help us for advocacy with the policymakers, how numbers are important. MSI also launched the India MS map. And you all must be aware that this map is a crowdsourced mapping where we are trying to show the prevalence of MS persons across the country. And from this map, you can easily see the prevalence of MS persons in the state, even in the district level. So these big dots are showing the large number of MSPs and small dots are showing a small number. So in this map, you will be able to see the prevalence of MS persons across the country. When we analyze the initial data we received on India MS map, so if we see the age group wise, there are approximately 70% of the MSPs who are between the age group of 15 to 45. And approximately 69% of the MSPs are female. And one of the interesting findings was that when we asked what where you are visiting for health services, so approximately 70% of the MSPs replied that they are visiting the private health facilities for their treatment. So it also opened doors to think that a large number of MSPs are visiting the private health facilities for their treatment. And if we think in terms of registration and the initiative taken by government, so it's mainly focused on the government hospital. So how we will be able to get that data from the private hospital so that we are having accurate number and accurate head count, and this will give accurate prevalence of states and at country level. So this map is going to be a very powerful tool in the coming year, and we will see the growing numbers. And in last 3 weeks, we could get around 100 new members through this map. So we can say that now it's slowly evolving, and in the coming year, this will be a very powerful tool where we will be able to show the exact head count of MSPs across the country. This event was witnessed by Dr. Kameshwar Prasad, who is the former HOD Neurology AIIMS, and Ms. Rachel King. She is the lead for MS Atlas. So they both were present on the inauguration of India MS map. And in the third week of the campaign, our MSI Youth Wing took the initiative to highlight the need of young adult, and where they highlighted the issues which the young MS persons are facing. So through the International Youth Day, we were having Pratik Khandelwal, who is the founder and managing director, Ramp My City Foundation. He shared very powerful case studies, how he made the differences in the life of disabled persons. We also had a talk show facilitated by Anjali, where the issues of young MS persons were discussed. There are many issues which we never talk, like the marital status, their sexual reproductive health problems and all. So this was discussed during this talk show, what exactly the young MS persons are facing. So there are other issues like they're not getting health insurance, or they are not getting the reasonable accommodation. So there are a number of issues which young MS persons are facing. Apart from this, we also organized musical event with Chandana and Vikram Vashisht. So this was 2-hour full packed event organized by our MSI Youth Wing. And if we talk about our youth influencer, so these were our youth influencers who promoted our campaign, who helped us in getting more signature on our online petition. One of the initiatives taken during the campaign was capturing the stories from MS person. And this was done through animation. Animated videos were made from the real stories of MS persons. So here you can see that Dipali Bajaj is there. She shared her entire life journey and what she's feeling and experiencing living with MS. So it was in the animation mode, and we shared on our social media platform. Similarly, other MSPs like Pratham Kashyap and Jaya Matthews, they also shared their journey, and we tried to capture through animated videos, and this was shared on our social media platform. Here you can see the story of Amit. He shared his journey, and we captured through animated video. So these all were a kind of communication tool where we are trying to reach more and more MSPs and trying to show that you are not alone. There are many MSPs who are also facing same challenges, and how beautifully they are overcoming with those challenges. We are trying to show the positive part of MS, that how they are, leading their life. And through this campaign, we could reach the new audience. Here you can see that in 1 month, we could reach 80,000 people through Facebook. So this was our reach on Facebook. And if we talk about our other social media platform like Twitter and Instagram, so there was also an increase of 1,025% on Instagram, and content interaction were 225%. Similarly, with the Twitter, we have seen the increase in last 28 days. There was an increase of tweet. There was an increase of 111%, and tweet responses were 117%, and profile visit were 46.2% jump on Twitter. So basically, we ran this campaign with the use of social media. So as an output, we want to see our reach through social media platform, and we could, reach a large number of people through this social media platform. So the key takeaways for this campaign was we spread the awareness on MS, growing the MS community in India. So we can say that through our India MS map, we will grow, our new members will join, garnering support from MS persons, and powerful tool for advocacy. So definitely at the end of the campaign, we'll have some powerful tool in the form of India MS map. We have online petition signatures, so that we will use for advocacy purpose. So this was an overall journey of last 4 weeks. Thank you very much. Okay, so now I move on to the next part of the program, and would like to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Netravati M. Dr. Netravati is a leading neurologist and additional professor in the Department of Neurology at NIMHANS, Bangalore. She is also part of the National MS Task Force and co-principal investigator for National MS Registry from NIMHANS. She is also the founding member of the Movement Disorder Society of India. She is part of the NIHR Global Health Research Group on Brain Infection, Liverpool University, and part of the Global COVID-19 Neuro Research Coalition. Dr. Netravati is also a key member of MSI Medical Advisory Committee and supported us in developing recommendation for the inclusion in the current assessment guideline under the RBWD Act. So now I would like to invite Dr. Netravati. The floor is yours, Dr. Netravati.
Thank you, Javed. My slides are visible?
Yeah.
Slides are visible, Javed?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. At the foremost, thanks to MS Society of India for making me part of this campaign when we are wrapping up this numbers matter in the last 4 weeks, as Javed mentioned. So it is very important for us to know this, because so that we assess what is the India-centric disease burden and not just rely on a lot of knowledge based on the West. So this is a common thing where we know this MS is a condition which affects different parts of the brain and spinal cord, depending on where the clinical manifestations are. And worldwide, there are more than 2 million people affected with MS. But if you see this map, it gives you a visual representation that the incidence and prevalence is not the same. There are some population, like for example here, where the prevalence is higher compared to other continents or countries. And it is very important to have this representation so that the policymakers, the healthcare workers are aware as to how they address this disorder and how do they carry about so that they improve the quality of life for people with MS. So I think that is what this campaign is trying to do. in collaboration with the MS International Federation. So if you ask what is the incidence, most of us are aware that if you take 1,000 to 10,000 people, 3 to 5 of them can have MS. Sorry. Most commonly in the second or the third decade, and again common in females. If we look at the studies which was done in India, the first study which came in 1970s was targeted less than 20 people of MS, which was studied at CMC Vellore, South India. Subsequently, there were studies which targeted the Parsi population from Mumbai, and then the 80s tried to see whether the relationship, what is said about being close to equator, is true or not, because we know that the equator passes in the middle of India. So what happens to the incidence? Does it really go away when you go away from the equator? That was tried to assess. And there were many studies which has taken into care. So if you see all these studies, what does it tell? Basically, they are trying to see some populations of hospital-centric, and see as to what is happening in those people who are coming to that hospital. And they're not basically focusing on India-centric. These are all targeting those people around either one of the ethnicities or few of the hospitals. And it may be a different 4 corners of India and definitely not India-centric. So that is the reason we need to have a registry. So what do I mean by registry? All of us know we want to organize our living, we start filing up. You have a cabinet, you start filing up. Based on 10 people are there in the office, based on the 10 people, you have 10 files, or based on the numbers or meetings, you start filing up and try to see what happens. So similar to that, the registries are basically trying to see how they can help in the clinical management, critical for studying the epidemiological trends, outcome. And when this is used in a healthcare system, that can be a barometer for the provision of treatment and improved services for people with MS. And among all, this is a gold standard which captures a wide variety of high quality data and interacts with registries in other countries to contribute so that an international body of research on a particular disease like MS. So, and this is the reason the MS Society of India, in collaboration with MS International Federation, has brought about a very good campaign, a very good initiative, novel initiative of Numbers Matter. I just want to tell that we healthcare professional neurologists have also having the same thought of helping people with MS. And in this advocacy, which is planned by the Numbers Matter campaign, also is being taken up by the neurologist. And this is just one quote which I have received. So pre-COVID, that is 2 years back almost, we had a session among many of the neurologists with the Indian Council of Medical Research and started thinking of having a India MS registry. And these are the different hospitals which have come up in the registry under the aegis of ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research. So the first, this targets, these are the people where there is high population of MS, and these are the main hospitals which are present, nearly 12 of them. And the other 14 are lesser, but still it is basically trying to capture the different 4 corners of India so that all the people of MS are represented. And we try to have a nation registry so that we'll be able to come up with some guidelines based on the registry. This is very central because this helps in planning, delivering, and review of healthcare as they provide data of analysis to observe the trend and care of people with MS. So how does this registry help? One is it helps in estimating and understanding the burden which is present. What happens is most of the time we are assuming that this may be in correlation with what has happened in other countries or what was already done in the 70s map of MS. But we need to have the actual figure, the base ground level figure as to what is the incidence and prevalence of MS in India. And that is what is going to basically be addressed by this registry. Apart from this, is it really that relapsing remitting is more common, or progressive comes where? Is it having some ethnic bias or a racial bias? And what is the same? Is the effect of the medication same as that what is reported outside? Or do we Indians behave in a different way? What happens to the pregnancy? Pregnancy registry is one thing which is very, very less talked about. And this is one of the big matter of fact, which is going to be addressed by this registry. And more than that, if you take a randomized controlled trial, it will assess just for those 2 years or 5 years. Okay, long-term 10 years, not beyond that. But this registry is going to have a long-term outcome study so that we know how people with MS are going to go about so that we can address the prognosis also. This is going to bring about experts. Now we know that there are few people who are trying to help the MS society in trying to see how much we can improve the quality of life of people with MS by collaborating. So we're trying to bring all these heads together, bringing all these experts together so that we collate the ideas and novel thoughts what these bring about, so that we not just have a research base to understand this illness better, but also how we can have a better outcome for these people, because we know the main crux is the financial issues which are dealing with it. Some people may be having just less than 5,000 per month for the medications, but it may sometimes run up to thousands and lakhs also in the management of MS. So how do we impress upon the health workers? How do we impress upon the policy makers that these are people who are having, though it is rare, it is not uncommon, though it is rare, it is not that they have to be neglected, though it is rare, it is not that they should not be considered to improve the quality of life. How do we impress upon the policymakers so that we give a better quality of life to people with MS? The other would be the research. Of course, as I said, it is not just about improving the outcome, but also the research, so that we have something of a data which is very standard, and we can try to have some agreement with other countries and try to see how we can help, how we can improve the technological innovation and sustainable funding. It is not just that I talk today and some money comes only for few people. It should be a sustainable, whether this person is there or not, whether this MS society is functioning or not. It helps in the long-term people with MS. And this will create a lot of global impact and collaboration. So basically what I want to emphasize is that registries help with the development of funding models whereby the money will follow the patient, so that we know that the main gap in the people of the care of MS is the financial burden, the higher cost of drugs, non-coverage of insurance policies, the Disability Act, which is actually not addressing a lot of hidden symptoms in MS, such as fatigue and tiredness, and sometimes even the cognitive and the behavioral symptoms. So improvement in the outcome of all these people has been very well established. If we take other registries like diabetic registries or stroke registries, they have actually done a lot of things for people. Though it is quite common in the population, they have revolutionized as to how they can make people better. The same aim is going to be targeted by this registry, so that we help to find the gap in service provision, evaluate how we can do a better service delivery and future delivery of services, so that the people of MS are empowered to be involved in the management by themselves. So basically what I want to emphasize is that the goal of MSSI, the goal of the neurologist or a healthcare professional is the same, that we want to tell to all the people with MS, remember that you are not alone, we are with you. And these type of initiatives where the number count by MSSI and the National Registry, which has been held by the ICMR, all promises a better future to all people with MS. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Netravati. I would like to ask one question. As you mentioned in your slide that 14 hospitals have been selected for MS registry or for registry of rare diseases. So what's the plan? Means it's in the phases that in the first phase only the government will focus on 14 hospitals, and in the second phase will take more hospital based on the pilot testing?
No, this has been basically, first is the group of people who are involved in the care of MS, as well as trying to cover all the four corners of India. So if you see, the first 14 centers are basically having the major population where they are taking care of people with MS. The other 12 are also counted, but they have a lesser population, but they are going to be at more of the district level also, so that we, you were talking about the private sectors. I agree here more of the government sectors, but they are going to be collaboration, so that it is not that the funding which is started actually 16th of August, I think almost similar to when your initiative started also. This started actually the pre-COVID era, and because of the COVID, it took a back seat. And 16th August, the funds have been released to all these places. It has to be started, initiated at all these places. It's not going to be at a phased level. So basically, already the ethics committee approval has been taken at all these institutes. So the funding will be coming. They will be establishing a registry so that we capture the people with MS. What is the burden? How much people are there? How do we have a standardized data collection, so that what I am doing and what AIIMS is doing or what PGI is doing is not different, so that all of us have a standardized data collection, and how much we can impress upon the policymakers. See, for example, finally, after doing all this, we should be able to help people with MS. If after 2 years or 5 years, I continue to tell, no, the cost of MS is still difficult, it is not going to convey. So two-pronged approach. One is research. The other one is helping people with MS. Both are going to be there in this registry.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Netravati, for highlighting the need for national registry and initiative taken by ICMR for national MS registry. This initiative would definitely help to get the national registry in place in the coming years. So thank you very much. Now, I would like to introduce our second speaker of the day, Mr. Bagiwal Pardeep Kumar. Mr. Kumar is a former Assistant Commissioner for Disabilities, Government of Karnataka. Mr. Kumar has worked as a disability inclusion advisor to UN and with other international NGOs. He has been disability advisor to government of Afghanistan, Cambodia, North Korea, and LeoPDR. For the last 1.5 years, he has served UNDP as a chief technical advisor to Ministry of Home Affairs on inclusive governance in LeoPDR, and is currently based in Vientiane. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Bagiwal Pardeep Kumar. So the floor is yours, Mr. Kumar.
Yeah, thank you so much, Javed, for this opportunity to be part of this closing event of this MS campaign. I would like to share with you all how I became aware of multiple sclerosis, and the incident which I'm going to narrate has a huge barrier. I mean, has an impact, I'm sure, on this particular campaign and the objectives of this campaign. While I was serving as an assistant commissioner in Karnataka, we had an opportunity for volunteers to be part of our office It was called as a Global Disability Voluntary Service. We had people from different parts of the world coming in and working as volunteers. And the very first volunteer we had in our office was Wing Commander Gopal, who was a person living with multiple sclerosis. His presence in my office made a huge difference in raising awareness about multiple sclerosis within the government of Karnataka and within the Office of the State Commissioner for Disabilities. Until such time, we had absolutely no clue as to what MS was all about. And he was a self-advocate, and he raised the awareness, and he was also part of the parents group, which used to aid and advise the Commissioner for Disabilities, which in turn would advise the government on various issues regarding policies, programs, and projects. Now, this is something that's very, very important to this campaign, as one of the objectives of the campaign is to raise awareness. It is very important that persons who are living with multiple sclerosis become self-advocates like Anjali. We would like to see many more Anjalis within the society, so that there's an increase in awareness, and the stakeholders base need to expand itself. We should have more and more stakeholders getting involved in raising awareness and in promoting and protecting the rights of persons affected by multiple sclerosis. Now, talking about data collection, well, having worked in disability sector for more than 20 years, I must say this is a huge challenge, not only in India, but anywhere else. As of now, the United Nations has been advocating for the use of a Washington Group short set of 6 questions on functioning and use for national censuses and other surveys. Now, this tool was developed by the Washington Group on Disability Statistics. I'm sure most of you are aware of this. The questions reflect advances in the conceptualization of disability and the use of WHO International Classification of Functioning, Disability and Health, which is prominently called as ICF conceptual framework. Now, the Washington Group chose to develop questions that would address the issues of whether persons with disability participate to the same extent as persons without disability in activities such as education, employment, or family and civic life. A major reason for this choice is the pivotal importance on the issue of social participation and equal rights from a policy perspective, as illustrated by the UN. Now, the Washington Group questions were designed to provide internationally comparable data cross-nationally for populations living in a variety of cultures with varying economic resources. Now, the biggest challenge is, collecting data in low and middle income countries. And there are countries which are now using Washington Group of, short questions in the national census. Unfortunately, the results don't seem to be as expected. That shows that the way in which the surveys were carried out was not as technically sound as it was expected to be. And the United Nations Population Fund has been the greatest advocate of this tool. And we hope that when it comes to implementing the census survey, they would do it in the right manner so that we end up getting the right kind of data. Now, the Washington Group of short questions tries to find difficulties in doing certain things in 6 key domains. That's vision, hearing, mobility, cognition, self-care, and communication. And I'm sure if a person with multiple sclerosis goes through this survey, he would be categorized under mobility. And the questions are very simple. When the enumerators ask, they ask whether you have any difficulty walking or climbing steps. And the responses would be: number 1, no difficulty; number 2, some difficulty; 3rd, a lot of difficulty; 4th, cannot do at all. Now, as far as MS is concerned, well, the Washington Group of short questions does not disaggregate data on specific disabilities. And for that, as Dr. Netra said, it's very important to have this kind of registries, and crowdsourcing is perhaps the best way to find out the number of persons with MS as it is done now. And I was pleasantly surprised and benefited from knowing what Javed said, that 70% of persons living with MS are youth. Now that is something very, very significant that should draw the attention of the government. And I have worked in many countries, and I have not heard of any self-help groups with regards to multiple sclerosis. When I was in China, I had an opportunity to interact with a self-help group from the hemophilia. In fact, they told me way back in 2004, 2005, it was illegal for them to meet and discuss their issues. But slowly, the government of China, accorded recognition to such groups, and today they have, multiplied, and there's a good network of people living with hemophilia in China, and they're interacting, and the government has also taken many proactive measures. Now, interestingly, I had a look at the interactive map that was developed by MS Society India. It shows that in Maharashtra, you have 648 cases. And when it comes to UP, I only saw about 111 persons with MS. And to me, this is something strange, UP being a highly populated state. And this is largely because of the level of awareness. In fact, Maharashtra should be promoting this awareness about MS, and as a result of which we have many people who have come forward and identified themselves and are visible. Now, this is something that needs to happen in other states, especially in rural areas. Now, what is important is, yes, data is important. It's important to count number of persons with MS in India. Now, what is something more important is what happens after the data has been collated. This is something that's important. What happens? What does the government do with this data? Now, that is the crux of the issue. Are we going to expect appropriate policies, programs, and interventions to promote and protect the rights of persons with multiple sclerosis? Now, that needs to be taken care of. I would like to give an example of the Hemophilia Society in Karnataka. I had the opportunity to work with them very closely, the Bangalore Hemophilia Society, and they worked, very closely with the Office of the State Commissioner for Disabilities. As a result of which, we were able to engage with Ministry of Health, and there was a corpus fund that was set for people living with hemophilia who are from the low-income groups to purchase, medicines, and also they were able to get that factor 8 and 9 free of cost. Now, this is a very good example of what happens when societies like MS Society of India works closely with the government. This is something that's very, very important to take forward the objectives of this campaign. I have a few suggestions for your consideration, and I'm sure the MS Society of India must be doing all this. In my opinion, government ownership is very critical in providing the required support for persons living with multiple sclerosis. And the RPWD Act 2016 has included multiple sclerosis as one of the disabilities. And you also have the Office of the Chief Commissioner for Persons with Disabilities. And according to the provisions of the Act, every state also has a State Commissioner for Disabilities. Now, it is very, very important for societies, chapters of multiple sclerosis across India to work with the state commissioners. And at the national level, it's very important to have a very close collaboration with the Office of the Chief Commissioner for Persons with Disabilities. I was going through some of the issues on the website, and I came to know that there's a issue with regards to 40% benchmark disability in the case of persons with multiple sclerosis, a centralized registry for persons living with multiple sclerosis, and support for medication and treatment. And there are other issues regarding life insurance and all that. Well, these issues are something that could be addressed by the Office of the Chief Commissioner for Persons with Disabilities and the State Commissioner for Disabilities. Now, as you are all aware, one of the provisions of the RPWD Act is it provides for a central advisory board in which there are 10 members who represent various civil society organizations, and persons with disabilities are preferred to be members of this advisory group. I'm not too sure if there's any member on this advisory board who's living with multiple sclerosis. If not, it's very important to lobby, advocate, and make sure at some point of time, persons affected by multiple sclerosis become members of this central advisory board. Similarly, at the state level, you have the state advisory board, and there are 10 members. And it will be interesting to hear from the office bearers of the, MSI India, whether, they have somebody in these state advisory boards. If not, it is time that you work towards having your members, having representation in these bodies, because your voice matters. These are the platforms that gives you an opportunity to advocate, to lobby, and make sure that your rights are upheld and respected. Working with the parliamentarians is also equally important. Here, I would like to give an example of persons affected by leprosy in India who have a very strong lobby and advocacy. I'm not sure if you are aware, there were more than 800 laws in India that discriminate against persons affected by leprosy. Now, there was a huge lobby and huge advocacy and campaigns that took place, as a result of which now it has come down drastically to less than 40 or 50 laws. And also they were able to draw the attention of the Honorable Prime Minister, and there was a private member bill that was tabled in the Parliament to repeal some of these discriminatory laws. Now, that is the kind of advocacy and lobby that has to happen. I hope that, since majority of persons affected by multiple sclerosis are youth, you have many youth members of Parliament, so it would be wonderful to work with them. Last but not the least, public interest litigation. Once again, persons affected by leprosy and their groups were able to file a PIL with help of one of the leading disability activists. And the Supreme Court took very serious note of the issues regarding persons affected by leprosy and passed a landmark judgment which has upheld the rights of persons affected by leprosy. Since I was told that majority of persons living with multiple sclerosis go to private clinics and hospitals, it's very important to sensitize general practitioners about multiple sclerosis. And as Dr. Netra said, now that the registry is promoting collaboration with the private sector, it's very important that general practitioners and other hospitals, private entities do inform persons who are affected by multiple sclerosis to register themselves. And I really and sincerely hope that the registry that is being put in place addresses the needs and concerns of persons with multiple sclerosis. Last but not the least, I must say that sensitization of the judiciary. This is something which we did in the state of Karnataka. We were able to conduct a sensitization session for all the judges of the High Court regarding issues concerning persons with disabilities. We found that some of the orders that were passed by the High Court were contrary to the rights of persons with disabilities, and from the perspective of the Persons with Disability Act 1995. Those days, we had this PWD Act 1995. And just to make sure that the judges are aware about the rights that are guaranteed under the Act, we held this sensitization session, and that really improved. And after that, there were many proactive judgments that were passed in favor of persons with disabilities. Now, coming to international advocacy. Now, this also matters, and I think the International Federation of Multiple Sclerosis can take up these issues. As you are all aware, India has ratified the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, and once in 4 years, the Government of India submits a report to the CRPD committee. The last report was somewhere in 2019, 18, 19. At that time, the United Nations really supported NGOs in India to come up with a shadow report. And there was a network of NGOs cross disability where they all came together and prepared a shadow report. And the committee has made suitable recommendations to Government of India. Now, it is important that the MS Society of India is part of this wider disability network and does participate in developing shadow reports, in lobbying with with the CRPD committee in Geneva. And also, it's very important that the MS Society of India becomes a member of Disabled People's International, if not already being a member. And also, there is another process called as the Universal Periodic Review, where countries report to the Human Rights Council to what extent they have been able to promote and protect the human rights of their citizens. And this again is a very good opportunity for MS Society of India to bring up issues regarding human rights of persons with multiple sclerosis. And it would also be interesting to see if there is a special report by Human Rights Watch or Amnesty International with regards to infringement of human rights of persons with multiple sclerosis. I was reading on your website that there are many issues regarding employment reservations that are contrary to the interest of persons with multiple sclerosis. And also, it's very important that the state commissioners and the chief commissioner provides an annual report to the parliament and to the state legislatures respectively. Now, again, it should be the responsibility of the state chapters and the MS Society of India to make sure that you meet the chief commissioner and the state commissioners, and there's something that is critical, that is important about the rights of persons living with multiple sclerosis being part of these reports, because these reports are going to be laid before the either house of the parliament and the state legislature. So this is another excellent way of drawing the attention of the lawmakers and making sure that things happen in the case of persons living with multiple sclerosis. As a concluding remark, I must say that I was very happy to read some of your initiatives in terms of advocacy, campaigns, and services that have been rendered by the MS Society of India. And despite the challenges, the achievement seems to be much more than the challenges that you have faced. And largely through the advocacy and service and campaigns that have been pretty impressive in drawing the attention of the society at large. I hope this campaign will create a robust roadmap for MS inclusive policy. And I sincerely hope there will be an extension of this campaign, that after having numbers, what happens? Making use of those numbers in developing appropriate policies and programs in the interest of persons living with multiple sclerosis. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Pradeep, for sharing your vast experience with UN and international organizations. And you rightly pointed out that why the prevalence is low in UP, Bihar, compared to other states. Though they are the highly populated state, the poverty is high, illiteracy high. So one of the answers is that we could not reach in that stage because we are managing those states from our nearby chapter like Delhi. So definitely we have a plan that we also scale up our intervention and also go in those states. And as far as rural population is concerned, yes, definitely we have to reach the rural population, because if we see today's data, then most of our MSPs, those who are registered with us, they are from urban areas.
Right.
We have to still, reach to the rural belt.
Yeah, Javed, one effective way is, I'm sure Anjali is also listening. It'll be interesting to work through some of the district magistrates. Fortunately, majority of the DMs we have in India are all youngsters, and they are in that youth group, So it'll be very, very interesting to meet the DMs, and some of the DMs are very, very proactive. So it will be interesting that, you meet these DMs, ask for a meeting and appraise them, tell them what MS is all about, what are the challenges they face. And I'm sure they'll be able to raise this awareness through publicity campaigns within the district, within rural areas, so that you get many more people, you'll be able to, improve your database.
Yeah, you also mentioned about the relationship with the disability commissioner. So most of the chapter, they have taken the initiative and they are developing their relationship with the disability commissioner. Excellent. And I would also say that as far as the representation in the state advisory board is concerned, then few members like Anjali, she has taken that initiative.
Excellent.
And in Indore, Sanket, he has taken that initiative, and we are waiting for the final approval. So
Lovely.
we are also moving in that direction so that we could represent in the state advisory board as well as in the central advisory board. And your other inputs like working with a parliamentarian is also, you know, we are looking forward. So thank you very much, sir. You have given valuable input, and definitely we will work on those input. Yeah, thank you very much. Now we are moving towards the end of this campaign. So now I would like to invite Anjali Vyas for the closing remarks and vote of thanks. Over to you, Anjali.
Thank you, Javed-ji. Thank you so much, Mr. Pradeep Kumar and Dr. Netravati. I mean, it's really, it's been a pleasure to hear you guys. I'm sorry, no offense, but some of the information that you shared were so, I'm very sure that whoever is listening to us right now, all our participants, they must have been blown away by the amount of information that you have received so far. Yes, some of the information we were aware of, but then, you know, coming from you all and, you know, with that spirit and that encouragement means a lot. While you were talking, I definitely found some of the points which are very important for all of us to know. In fact, all the young MS persons out there to know. Dr. Netravati, you have pointed out this fact that, you know, the pregnancy registry is less talked about. Something really, it's a food for thought, definitely, because, you know, while we discussed some of the issues which are stigmatized in multiple sclerosis on our International Youth Day, it was something that I asked one of our participants as well, as to how it has affected the reproductive life and otherwise the married life of people with MS. And this coming from you, I'm sure will mean a lot to all the people who fear talking about it. They must be vocal and come together. I have noted down the very ICMR registry, the list of hospitals which will now work on the registry of the multiple sclerosis people living in various states. In fact, I come from a very small town called Bhandara, which is near Nagpur. And I was actually going to ask you a question, Dr. Netravati, on that. We have got All Indian Institute of Medical Sciences in Delhi, and then we have Central Indian Institute of Medical Sciences in Nagpur. Can we also do something about it where we can maybe request ICMR to also have SEAMS in the list of the registered hospitals or so when we do that?
I think that would be a good thing. Basically, as Javed asked, this is the first phase where at least these hospitals have started the initiative. And eventually the plan is, this is for the first 2 years, eventually to carry out to the other places and also have the private sector network. And that will definitely help in getting the better number and for all the advocacies which is required. Definitely, yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. And I heard Pradeep sir talking about the power of youth and how all of us should come together. So it was so nice to hear that, you know, you encouraged all of us to have presence in not just state advisory boards, but also in the central advisory board, which is constituted at the central level and have got 10 members. And definitely my gut tells me that we have no representation from MS. And we will make it a point that somebody reaches out there and represents and talks about the issue. I heard you talking about how Hemophilia Society and the Leprosy Foundation have worked so hard and won the battle, and how they have been also time and again writing letters to ministries and, you know, fighting for their rights, etc. And yes, sensitization of GPs is something that definitely should be worked by all the chapters in all the states. In fact, we in the state of Maharashtra have also been doing that, and I'm very sure that other chapters are doing that as well. In fact, I think in 2019 there was this center passed a bill, in fact, that there should be compulsory training of government officials on the RPWD Act in all the states, which I think most of the states took up, wrote recommendation letter. We wrote it in the state of Maharashtra. I wrote it to the Chief Secretary and the Disability Commissioner. We have Sanket Mistry with us, who wrote that recommendation letter to the state of Madhya Pradesh, and he actually sensitized 500 government officials. as a result of which he was then added in the State Advisory Board of MP. So I think all of those words that you have shared with us today hold a lot of value, very critical. Yes, we must work close with the government officials, even if, all of us feel that it is a slow motion and, it doesn't work that fast. But I'm sure that with all of us together and definitely with your guidance, we will reach our goal very, very soon. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable inputs, and also Dr. Netravati for bringing those issues out. Which gives me actually an ultimate and absolute pleasure to also thank you all and deliver the vote of thanks to everybody out here. Well, last year, we started our campaign, Reassess MS, because there were many of the issues in the RPWD Act which are not addressed and considered while a person with MS is getting assessed. Definitely, that campaign helped us to analyze the importance of numbers, because no matter how much we work hard and definitely fight for our rights, if there are no numbers, if there's no data, nothing will move forward. And therefore, that brought us to our campaign this year, the advocacy campaign, Numbers Matter. You guys asked for it, we heard you, and we launched the advocacy campaign on the 25th of July on our 36th anniversary of the Multiple Sclerosis Society of India. What a journey it had been in the last 4 weeks. Definitely, it was something which was understood, heard, acknowledged, and supported by so many people, not just in India, but trust me, when I and my other fellow MS persons wrote letters and messages and spread the word on the petition that we launched and the support that we wanted for our campaign. We were really wholeheartedly supported by those people. In fact, I also want to tell you that, ladies and gentlemen, this is not something that happens overnight. It actually took us a lot of effort to understand the needs of MS persons, how to put together everything into pieces and then deliver this campaign. On our campaign launch, we launched our Numbers Matter campaign along with the first ever India MS map, the crowdsourced map, which was one of its kind in India. And we didn't just stop there. We also started a petition. Multiple Sclerosis Society of India supported me, and with their support, I started a petition on change.org to ask for data on multiple sclerosis people in India, so that all of us are counted whenever the policies are made, be it insurance policies, health policies, whether it is research in MS or employment opportunities for that matter. Everywhere, all of us are heard and counted. And I must mention our deep sense of appreciation to Dr. Kameshwar Prasad and Rachel King from MSIF, who wholeheartedly supported our campaign, enlightened us on the importance of numbers, and definitely also told us the need of having such campaign, and shared the need of this campaign in not just India, but across the world, everywhere. And that also gives me this pleasure, and definitely I'm very happy and would like to thank MS International Federation for all their support, because I don't think if they have not been here with us and, with the comments of Rachel King and otherwise other people from MSIF were not there, we wouldn't have really successfully completed this campaign. And I'm sure that they will be there with us in many more campaigns to come. After the launch of the India MS map, definitely all of us were shaken to know the numbers. It showed us some striking numbers on how multiple sclerosis is prevalent in youths. And therefore the youth wing of MSSI, our proud youth wing of MSSI, came forward and celebrated the International Youth Day unitedly to drive the campaign, talk about the issues which are generally considered as social stigma, and also those issues where numbers really matter. And so I would like to also extend my hearty vote of thanks to the youth wing and our mentors of the youth wing, who have been a constant support and pillars to the campaign. And today, when we heard our eminent speakers on how data and numbers are of extreme significance and can affect the lives of people with MS, I'm sure you don't want this campaign to end. Definitely, we will see how we can extend this campaign and how we can take our recommendations and requests ahead. We are very grateful to Dr. Netravati for guiding us on the roadmap ahead on the National Registry for the MS persons. Ma'am, you have been a constant support to not only MSSI, but all our MSPs since ages today. And for that, I want to especially thank you for that. I also wish to extend my gratitude to Mr. Pradeep Kumar for shedding the light on how MSSI can network with the government officials. What should be the other way ahead for us to succeed when it comes to getting the data, numbers, and definitely not just on Numbers Matter campaign, but otherwise when it comes to fighting for the rights of persons with multiple sclerosis, along with the youth, how it is important, and also to include the MS in the policy and research for MS. I'm also truly thankful to our president, Mr. Viresh Oberoi, for being the catalyst and inspiring us in our journey. With deep sense of appreciation, I would also like to thank our National Secretary, Mrs. Renuka Malakar, for her rock solid support and encouragement throughout. I'm sure that even if they could not join us today, they will be really thrilled to know of the words which were exchanged today on this webinar. Most of us who walked the path and supported our campaign will agree that it wasn't that easy. We have been fortunate enough to have been backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated persons. A big thank you to Nazia Aram, our national campaign manager, for not just the informative campaign review and otherwise the information shared by her throughout the campaign, but also creating those beautiful graphics and content to capture every detail in the visuals for our campaign. They were truly beautiful. Further, I would also like to extend my thanks to our National Project Director, Mr. Javed Hassan, for not only moderating the event, but also being the driving force in the campaign. My sincere gratitude goes to all our chapter chairpersons and secretaries who worked equally hard to make this campaign a huge success. I would also like to thank all our influencers and the celebrities who have supported us through our campaign by signing and sharing our petition on their social media platforms. And last but not the least, I would also like to especially thank our back-end team member, Mr. Sanket Mistry, who worked behind the scenes to execute this event effectively. I wish I could see his face right now. Thank you, Sanket, sir. And definitely, I would like to express in the end, my sincere thanks to all our MS persons for their indomitable spirit to keep the campaign running. My biggest thanks to our lovely audience for their enthusiasm and presence and for spreading the word on not just the campaign, but also the lives, the way that people with MS live their lives and, creating awareness on multiple sclerosis throughout. Thank you all for joining. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you very much.
Phew, it was a long journey, right? I'm so sorry. I'm really overwhelmed, but please, I apologize if, yeah. But thank you all. Thank you very much.